Good evening and welcome back to Frame of Midlife. It's Thursday evening. I have recovered from my adventure with the TV programme. And this evening I found a report in one of the media things, and it says that seemingly England has the second worst harvest on record in 2024. Now, it's saying that because the Energy and Climate Intelligence Unit has done the figures. Now, wheat harvest is 21% down on last year. The winter barley is 26% down on last year. And oilseed rape is 33% down on last year. Now, if you take the main crops, which are wheat, winter and spring barley, oats and oilseed rape, overall production's down 15%. And what's happened there seemingly is the rains in September have meant that the winter planting has not happened because the farmers have had so much rain. So they've either lost the tail end of a crop or they're not able to plant the winter crop, and they've lost that part of the harvest. So, it's either a much smaller harvest than they would normally have or no winter harvest at all. And that's a lot for us to lose. There's only a finite amount of stuff that we're expecting, and for us to lose so much, 15% overall, but some of the crops, being quarter of the crops, are gone compared to what was expected. So looking at that, I'm like, what does that mean for me? So for me, it definitely means I need to be looking at being able to provide myself with food of some sort, whether that's planting potatoes in buckets or doing other planting, because I seem to be singularly useless at it. So I need to practice more, because practice makes perfect, as they say. So we'll do something. Don't quite know what yet, but we'll do something. So we'll get that sorted. But if this is the way it's going to continue, we need to be looking, my opinion is, we need to be looking at what else we can plant that's going to survive in our climate, because according to most people, it's because of the climate change, because of these rains that we didn't used to get, etc., etc. So maybe we need to start looking at crops which will produce in that kind of climate, or changing our expectations, because if the climate's changing, what's our climate changing to? Where are we going? If they're saying like down in France and Spain it's getting cooler, so they're not doing as well. I think the grape harvest in the UK was quite heavily hit last year as well. So if it's getting cooler, what do we need? And if the fields are flooding, then we need to be able to do something about that. I don't know what yet. But if we want to be able to provide a decent amount of food and still have farmers who are willing to go through what it takes to produce that food, the government needs to be looking at something. We need to be looking at something. The Farmers Union needs to be looking at something. It needs to be joining up the dots for what is possible, to grow, what is possible to prepare the land for, and what is possible for the farmers to do. Because one of the other things, as you know, is the harvesting. There's been not enough people to harvest it. There's a whole thing going on in food production in the UK. And I think we need to be very careful about our food stores. Can you tell I'm going shopping this weekend? I just did, just actually finished dehydrating a bag of casserole mixed veggies. So that's going in the jar once it cools down. It's just out the dehydrator just now. Let me see if I can just get this. As you can hear, the dog's chasing her tail. Yeah. So let me see if you can see this. So this is the casserole veg mix. Now, you know the one with the little silver skin onions? So that there, let me see, that there was a little silver skin onion, which is now crumbly. I have dehydrated that probably about 3 times, just because there were some rather large pieces of veg, including the silver skin onion type, the little tiny onions. So I have dehydrated that 3 times to make sure that even the biggest pieces of veg and the onions are crispy, proper dried, so that they can be stored properly. So yeah, I can see myself doing quite a bit more of that. So that we've got stuff, and I can see myself digging out my Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers as well, so that we've got stuff that keeps for a while, because things like oats, easy to make, breakfast, etc., cheap to buy, possibly not going to be as cheap to buy in the near future. Flour, cheap to buy at the moment. Wheat and barley crops struggling, possibly not as cheap to buy in the near future. So yeah, I'm going to go make myself a list. Yes, I know, another list. And can I just say, those who know. Look, I may need to get another notepad soon. Patrick will be rolling his eyes at that. So I'm going to go and have a cup of tea now, and I will catch you later.